My country people, Tinubu don't run, come out. One can they talk one or two things, they put them together. They want to move this nation forward. Now remember, say it already nominating ministers and they don't they on the line to take put them for their right offices. The question where it they grant be say why it be say that when judgment day don't they approach now in one con they give all this information how they want to do this, what they want to do, strategy they don't lay for grant. Now in one con they release them come out. Waiting in suppose don't talk since before he removed the fuel subsidy. You know, see all these politicians, they get the way they take they do something so that when you can they think say they go walk. Meanwhile, they not get anything where be say they want do at all. They all they beat around the bush. So they don't see I'm saying something it do online where be say it won't happen. The tribunal will soon give their final verdict. Now, in the one win Nigerians at back now to come they talk these things so in be say in the talk now, because before this time from some few weeks ago everything it get as it be for ram, you know, your go for ram kaka koko or maze de ama kaka. So don't we don't day so he don't sit down don't think and say he need to stop waiting go soften this whole matter where be say everything go take calm down, because waiting apple for Niger he no one make it apple for Nigeria. My people, this one go solve the situation. This one go solve the situation. You know, so when they run their mouth like say tomorrow not day, they not go think and say what about if them fail. No, they not they think that one. Now say that they believe say they want go forward, though they bring strategies so it be say it be long term. Meanwhile Nigeria need short term strategies, not long term strategy, because short term now go take us quick to where we they go, because we don't reach the end of patience. We not get with it they call patience again, my people. Now this one I in come out come talk plenty things we be say it they are head where he want do for the nation. Make una hear wetin Nigerians talk for this video. I will let this video play. Make una hear wetin Nigerians talk. This one a Bod TV board where they analyze all the trends where they happen. Make you not forget to like, share, and subscribe. I don't go play this one way in talk come out to no. Now the reaction of what people talk for the highlights of the things we in talk. Now I go show now my people. Mokuna not forget to share this video, like and subscribe. This one a Bod TV once more. Una do well, una do.
I know your pain. I understand what you're going through. Those are some of the words of President Bola Tinubu tonight. He's touched on a lot of issues. He said, I will not speak with you tonight in verbose and economic jargons. I will speak with you in plain language. President has spoken also about the issue of fuel subsidy and its impact on the nation. This is perhaps an emergency nationwide broadcast by President Bola Tinubu. Welcome to the program, everyone. And we shall be dissecting what the president said, the ministerial nominees, and some of the major issues in the land as of now. The economic woes of the country, what he has done to able to get the private sector working. He's talked about infrastructural loans and support funds for the state. He's spoken about 75 billion naira from between June 2023 and March 2024. For 75 businesses to kickstart their businesses. He's also spoken about 1 billion naira credit of a 9% interest rate, 16 months for long-time loan, 12 months for those who are going to take immediate capital. 125 billion, 50 for about 50 new businesses between now and March 2025. He's spoken about 200,000 grains, fertilizers, 50 billion naira to 50 billion naira to cultivate 150,000 hectares of rice and maize, and so much more that the president has spoken. He said subsidy as being a major problem has gone into the pockets of a few individuals in the country. So we get to talk about what the president said. And, Chief Audu Ogbe, who is a former Minister of Agriculture and a former national chairman of the PDP, he joins us live from his residence in Abuja. It's good to see you, Chief Ogbe. Thanks so much for joining us on a day as this, where we've seen the president give a nationwide address in an unusual manner. It's the 31st day of July. Many would never think that the president would speak on a day as this, at a time as this. It's also another day when the ministers are being screened. And also, I know you and some of your colleagues are already speaking about presidential appointments. And also, a lot of things are happening in the land. Let me get your view. You've been very close to several presidents. You've been on the ground. You've been around for a while. Give us an understanding of what you make of President Bola Tinubu's nationwide address that he gave in about 20 minutes ago.
Shaun, thank you very much for this opportunity to speak. And let me say to you that I am quite excited by the broadcast. My view has always been that democracy is not worth that piece of paper on which it is written on if it is not promoting a viable and reliable economy. And now that the president has very, very seriously started dealing with this problem of economic growth, which has been very, very, very static here for a long time, the president is dealing with a problem which, in fact, affects political cohesion. So there was no need for him to preach on harmony and happiness in society. The big issue is the stomach. People are hungry. Young men and women have no hope and no future. Many of them are hopping out. Others are going into crime. So now the president is beginning to deal with the real problem: economic development, production at home, self-sufficiency in food, manufacturing. We have no excuse for the hunger and the anger in society. The big key thing is what the president has just said: payable funds to develop the economy, activities to create business, especially in the rural areas. These are the key things which have been holding Nigeria down. And I am absolutely excited. The thing now is for him to put in the team that can make this thing happen.
So, I mean,
too many young people are on the streets miserable. Yes.
So I was going to take up on that. So the address on one hand, the message in the address is another thing. The timeliness or the timing of the address is another factor. But another angle to looking at this is that for the president to speak, when a lot of groaning is going on in the country, what kind of effect in terms of communication, which Professor Adibe has touched on, what kind of effect do you think this communication will bring to the Nigerian people? Those words and those speech in some other climes affect the market in terms of the economy market. You see the market rise and fall based on the speeches of leaders. How effective do you think this kind of speech will be?
Shaun, I think this can be called the great leap forward. It's a very exciting speech. And I know somebody else said earlier that he didn't talk about the sentiments and anger and so on in society. The truth is that the big cause of all that distress is in a non-functional economy. We have too many of our children and grandchildren living in distress, too many families living in pain, and too little production in a country gifted by God with everything. Get the jobs back in place, give food to families at an affordable rate, and you'll find that all that hate and tension begins to disappear. And even the crime rate will begin to fall. because a lot of the young people who go into crime are desperados. So I am excited by this speech, and I honestly wish that he will put the team together to make it work.
I mean, talking
and
about
the other issue he raised is the interest rate. Yes.
Please go ahead. You were talking about the interest rate. Go ahead, please.
Yes. Now, where in the world can an economy grow if banks are lending at 28%? Are you producing cocaine? Otherwise, there's no. Otherwise, why ask people to borrow at 28% and make any sense of it or pay back? They can't. So the measures he has taken are, again, very, very supportive of the desire to grow the economy.
Let me take you up quickly on the area of agriculture. The president listed in fact, he focused a lot on the area of agriculture. This is perhaps in line with the movement to declare a state of emergency on food security. You have headed that ministry before. You know the problems, you know the challenges facing the security on food in Nigeria. He has reeled out all of these plans. Are those workable? Are those realistic strategies coming from President Tinubu?
They can be achieved. There's no reason why they cannot be. First, we have the land with almost a million square kilometers of land. We're utilizing only 3.5% to produce food. So is there any reason why we're wondering why we're hungry? Number two, agriculture is a very special area. In every country in the world, especially in the United States and Europe, the subsidies they give to agriculture are huge. People must feed well to be able to think well, to be able to be proud of their country, to be able to promote peace and understanding. And again, I talk of our children and grandchildren. They are passing through a lot of stress. If this program begins and the president puts together a very powerful team, there's no reason why it should not work. However, local governments have to be re-examined because they are not functioning. And let nobody deceive himself. The local government system in Nigeria is a near disaster. Money doesn't get to them. There are no graders to level their village roads to their farms. Nobody is repairing the children's school fees. 300-400 children sit on the floor in the classroom, right? The roofs are leaking, and yet money goes to local governments every month. The president must monitor these funds or penalize local governments that refuse to apply them, or governors who do not allow the local government system to function. We can make it, and this speech encourages me to believe that if we organize a team to manage this system properly, we're on our way out of misery, and we're on our way to true leadership in Africa and true security and happiness. All these boys kidnapping and killing are victims of the failure of our system. And I have always said I am a big opponent of the devaluation of the Naira, which was done through an auction in 1986. They told us that our currency was overvalued. And I kept asking them, what were you buying from us that was too expensive? The only thing you were buying was the oil, whose quantity and currency was fixed, and whose price was regulated, not here, but by big buyers abroad. Why did we need to destroy our currency from $1.50 to 850 Naira now? It's the worst thing we did to ourselves. And then we're importing needles and pins, rubber bands, ice cream powder. We are the biggest producer of cassava in the world, and yet we're the biggest importer of cassava products. We're reviving our textiles. There's no starch industry. One tuber of yam is 2,000 Naira. A family of 3, can't feed. So this is fantastic. I want to encourage the president to push it, and also to make sure that whoever stands in his way gets severely punished. Severely punished for whoever tries to divert and mess up this program, because without it, our democracy will have no meaning. And the chaos we're going through will continue.
Quickly.
Today, our army is deployed in nearly 35 states.
Quickly, Chief Ogbe, because I'd like you to touch on the issue of the ministerial nominee, and I'd like Professor Adigbe also to touch on that. You have talked about getting the right team together. But, I mean, you remember you were heavily criticized about your statement on importation, that you mentioned the fact that, in fact, some people import pizza on BA in the morning into Nigeria, and how far you went in trying to fix things. And those who criticize that, what did you do when you were Minister of Agriculture in your own time, but getting the kind of the caliber of people that will fix things? How are you impressed with the ministerial screening today? Does it meet your yearnings as someone who spent a long time in government? I mean, being around.
Let me answer the question you first asked. So when I said we were importing pizza, we are importing pizza. A governor friend of mine who criticized me for saying so went to a supermarket in Lagos and actually saw frozen pizza in freezers being sold. Number two, they said, I was a critic. Well, under me in 2018, Nigeria became the largest producer of rice in Africa. We overtook Egypt. So, of course, critics are many in Nigeria. It's their profession, criticism. But most of them have no knowledge of what they talk about, but they have access to the TV and the media from time to time, and they make some of the most unreasonable statements. I knew what I was talking about. We were importing rice $5 million a day on the average. Now we have stopped. Of course, people say, why is local rice more expensive? The cost of transportation. Put a bag of rice in a trailer from Katsina or from Jigawa to Lagos. They charge you 5,000 naira for transport. If we had a railway system, this wouldn't happen. So transportation is an issue. A railway network is a necessity. But at least we stopped importing rice. Someday we should stop importing wheat, which we can produce, and even palm oil, for which we were, for nearly 100 years, the largest producer in the world. All of that disappeared under the instability we went through, coups and counter-coups, elections and so on, because the culture of agriculture was our most reliable and strongest culture in earlier days. Now, you asked me about the screening of ministerial nominees. We had some today. Some of them performed quite well. Some said things which sounded very strange, like somebody entering primary school at the age of 3. That sounded very strange. Even Albert Einstein didn't do that well. But we'll leave the Senate to decide how it works. At the age of 3, you were in primary school. Where on God's green earth did that happen? Right? So we can make it happen. We can grow this economy. Take Ekiti State, it's the largest producer of bananas in this country. We can export bananas. The banana industry in the world is $13.2 billion, controlled by Germans. Right? We are the largest producers of yams in the world, the largest producer of cassava, but we're not maximizing. Ghana is the biggest exporter of yams, but we are the largest producers. And we also have a lot of nihilists in this country too. Whatever you start, there must be a nihilist in one corner who says, oh, he doesn't know what he's talking about. We do. I grew up as a child on the farm. And even though I was a teacher of the French language in ABU Zaria, I am still a farmer. Today I do palm oil, right? I've done castor oil, right? We are expanding our fish farms in Abuja here. We have exported ginger to China. We're going to do more this coming season.
All right.
So I am not
Chief Ogbe,
and miss.
Let me take you up.
I am a farmer.
Yeah, let me take you up quickly.
I didn't study it.
Let me take you up quickly. You and some of your colleagues in the Benue Elders Forum are already talking about the discrepancy in the appropriation of appointment under the Bola Tinubu, and you made a statement. What exactly are you talking about? Because I want us to wrap this up and come to Prof.
Well, it's probably about Benue, if it is the one you're talking about.
Yes.
We have a structure in Benue where there are two major ethnic groups, the Tiv, who are the majority, and the Idoma. And then, of course, there are smaller groups, the Tulo, the Hausa, the Jukun, and so on. And we have been feeling a bit uncomfortable that for 46 years, since Benue was created, no Idoma man has ever been governor. Never. And we are saying to our chief brothers, hey, let's rotate this business so that people can come from different parts of the state and get the vote. We are told we don't have the numbers. And then I asked the question, is there any ethnic group in Nigeria that has all the numbers that can put a president in place without the vote from other ethnic groups? So why should it be about ethnicity? If the party has the numbers, that's better than the ethnic group insisting that because they have the numbers, nobody else is allowed to be a governor. And it goes on. I mean, the governor, the secretary to government, the chief judge, and so on. And we are saying, look, let's discuss this matter and let this thing move around a bit so we can all have a sense of belonging. We're not at war, but we're at liberty to say that certain things make us uncomfortable, and we hope they be looked into.
This is Bod TV Bod. In case the first time you come here, please don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell for more uploads.